questions here. Okay, so your assistant, Elena, is that her name? Elena?
Elena.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And tell me about Elena. What's her role?
She carries wears a couple hats. She has she's kind of like our office manager, but she's in charge of all my marketing. So I give her the details and she implements.
Okay. So she's your right-hand person.
Yep.
Okay.
Really one of two right-hand people.
Okay.
Mother's the one on the buyer side.
Now who goes on all the listing appointments?
I do. I still do.
Okay. All right. So why?
Why?
Yeah.
Just because profit is at 82% if I go on the listing appointment.
Well, hold on. What did you say? You said your profit's at 82% if you go on the appointment?
Yes.
Okay. Well, all right. So I'm going to play devil's advocate. It's impossible to be at 82% because you're not factoring in your labor and your time. So in other words, if you had an agent on your team, you would pay them 40%, 50% of the transaction if they closed the deal, right?
I figured I'd get 62% if they did.
Okay, so if you have so your agents that you have now, you pay them what?
On the listing side, they only get 20% because these are pretty much come list me.
Okay, all right. So you pay them 20%, and then you've got your marketing cost, and then you have your other operational expenses and all those kinds of good things. So your profit, is probably, like you're saying, 35% maybe.
Okay.
I'm guessing if you gave somebody right now one of these leads that you would go on.
Okay.
What do you think your bottom line profit would be if you're paying them 20%?
Well, good question.
I bet you it's around 30% or maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know the marketing cost is way higher than your average deal specific, especially from radio. You're probably at a 20-25% marketing fee percentage or something like that on average. I don't know, but it's probably somewhere in that number. So I get all that. So yeah, I bet you could still make 30% or pushing 30% profit, 25 to 35%. I bet you can pull down still, paying people 20% on the listing side.
Okay.
All right. So which means that it can't be 82% for you because you're not factoring in the 20% that you would pay. That's what you've established it's worth. Cost of sales is worth 20%. So if you back that out of the equation, then you should be able to come up with your profit margin.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm getting at. Now, the reason I ask why is I know you like doing it. I know you believe in it and all those kinds of things, and far be it for me to tell you that you should change anything, okay? But I like asking these questions of why. Why are you going on all the appointments, and why do you feel like you have to? Why can't you still make, $1 million in net income not going on the appointments?
Right.
And it's a good question. I think, Frank, my belief system is that you can make more money not going in the appointments.
Okay.
So at some point in your career, if you hang around long enough doing this here, you're now exposed to a group of people intimately, like that's their belief system, except for a couple of them. They still haven't gotten there yet, like Nancy Ferlini. Okay? But Nancy's funny because the more she hangs out with Francis and Francois and these guys, and she sees how much money they're netting, and they don't go on any appointments, and their businesses are growing more rapidly than hers, then she starts to question her belief system.
Right.
It's like you can imagine. There's some. Well, it's like me. Once I stopped going on the appointments, it wasn't that I didn't do anything with my time. I actually worked more. just confess, I worked more on marketing stuff, in all the dreams and things that I had on my head and in my print and in paper, they were able to become more realistic in opportunity. I spent more time meeting with better people that I could leverage than I was meeting with before. And those kinds of things, what I filled my time with, and that resulted in just more money and,
Sure.
and better relationships overall. So, but that's me, and that's Craig, and that's that type of thing. But again, dude, I'm not telling you to change anything, but I wanted to get an idea of where your profit margin was, what you were thinking on the listing side. If you can get away with paying 20%, it's pretty good. I think you can, because you've got, like you said, number one, they're come list me's. Number two, your average sales price is pretty high, right?
It's hovering around 400 now, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, so you get a $400,000 sale. You're probably taking the listing at what on your side? 3% on your side, on the one side? 3%?
No, 4.5. Probably average is 4.3.
On the listing side?
Yeah. 7% total of which.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's even better. Holy shit. So $400,000 times 0.4%. That's 16 grand times 0.2. That's $3,200 for basically 3 hours work.
Yeah.
Guys making $1,000 an hour. So hey, how would you like to make $1,000 an hour? I mean, who's going to say no to that when you start looking for help here? So yeah. I guess my next question is, can you do more? Can you get more appointments than you're getting right now? In other words, you still cherry pick the deals you're going on, but can you get more listing appointments under the same marketing system?
We're always working for that, but I think there's a limitation. I would get more if I paid more, radio.
You think so, though? Do you think you would?
Yeah, and that's one of the things I'm always looking at is, where's that limit? I'm on 3 different stations right now, and I guess there's more data to collect to really be able to answer that smartly. I know my numbers as far as what it gives me right now, or what I think it gives me right now, and yeah, it's just, again, just making the most out of every lead to get that lead appointment and then convert it. And one of my for your information, 2014, one of my goals was either to hire a listing agent, to have a dedicated listing agent, or to hire a listing assistant to take a lot of just the legwork away from me as far as, time on the phone, setting appointments, that sort of thing. I went with the listing assistant for now, and she's given me some good benefits, especially time. And my goal is to only spend 1 to 2, at the most 3 hours on each listing. And so that's all part of my equation as far as, again, the profit. And but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just because I mean I believe that you want to make double the amount of money that you're making right now. You can't work any more than you're working right now. So that's it. We got to find a way to increase. Well, look, if you can get more listing appointments, we can do that. We'll talk about that here in a moment. But they're probably not going to be the come list me's that you're getting now if you expand these other marketing systems. Now, you can do things to turn these people into come list me's with heavy pre-selling and benefit rich direct response marketing as soon as you generate the lead, pre-selling these people and doing business with you. You could probably get them pretty close to that point. But I don't know if you're going to be able to, if 20% will work, I don't know. But you start somewhere and you do it and you modify as you go along.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So, but anyway, so we'll look at some of these marketing systems that you guys sent over. Now, first of all, do you need more agents? Do you have an overflow of business right now?
We're looking for, I can't say we have an overflow of business, but I'm always recruiting, bottom line. And so I want, in my queue, I want one potential listing agent, one more potential buyer's agent on staff, working. I think we've got that person. And then I want two kind of ready to go that we've already vetted in case something happens to one of the others. I don't want to get caught short anymore, like we always tend to do. We get happy with somebody, and then something happens and they leave us, and then we're frantically looking for somebody else. So I'm trying to fix that.
Right.
So with the always be recruiting philosophy.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at some of these things, and we'll talk about recruiting as well, because I know there's an ad that you've got on there. So I'm looking at your Just Sold card. I threw it up on the screen. I don't know if you can see it.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
All right. So we'll take a look at this. Now, there are some marketing principles and rules in play here. Now, the first thing, before we even talk about the card itself, tell me what the purpose of this card is. What's your intention with it?
These go to seller prospects already in my database. They're all radio sellers or warm lead type sellers.
Okay, great.
So it's a very focused group that gets these. Right now it's about 350 people, say, that get these once a week or two times or every other week, and it's just more reinforcement to make sure they're still in our loop. We're contacting them several ways, and this is one of them.
Okay. All right. So there's some basic rules on Just Sold cards that I think you're probably going to want to follow. The first one is anytime you send a postcard in the mail, when they get it, don't assume that they're going to read both sides. That's number one. You never make the assumption that people read anything, let alone read both sides of a postcard. So we have to actually induce the person, compel them to read what it is you're giving them. So you don't want to miss the opportunity because you got 8 seconds here, of their attention. We don't want to assume that they're going to look at the card and flip it over and flip it back and read it and all this kind of stuff. So you got to be really good at presentation on a postcard, and in the way you get more readership on postcards is with illustration, demonstration. That's why, like, the picture of the home is beneficial. All right. So one thing, don't assume they read both sides. Number two is don't just make an announcement. Okay, so you said, hey, the purpose of my card is to, number one, get these people to call me and tell me to come sell their house. Okay, and if they're not going to call me right now, is to convince them that when they are ready to call, that I'm the guy for the job. All right, so you selling a house is not news. Okay, that's what everyone, even your mom, dad, sisters, brothers, cousins, everybody in your immediate family that's still around, they all expect you to do that. That's what they think you do. Your seller prospects, everybody thinks that's what we do. So when we sell something, it's not news. Okay? What's news is, the news is actually what happened during the sale. So for example, I sold this house for 101% of the asking price. Okay, in other words, more than the guy was asking for. Well, that's news. I sold it in 17 days. Well, that's news. If it's taken the other agents in the area longer. Okay, so or I can preempt assumptions about those things, and if I want to brand my message of hey, we sell more homes for more money in less time than the other agents. If that's my unique selling proposition, then it really should be yours, that you sell more homes in less time and for more money than the other agents do. then the sold card is demonstration of that unique selling proposition. Okay? But the one thing that you probably want to get away from is just saying, I just sold this house. You know, that's not news. The testimonial on here is good, but, you know, again, you know, it's, you know, I don't even know who it's from. There's no name of the prospect. So let's talk about testimonial usage. Do you have a problem using the full names of your prospects on your testimonials?
No.
Okay, good. Well, you want to. And you want to go further than that and tell them who they are, what they do. For example, you know, I may say, what was it? Dennis Attaway. Okay, that's the guy's name. But when I say Dennis Attaway, athletic director at North Cobb High School. Okay, just more powerful and more definitive, and you give a personality to the prospect. You know, that's what you're after. So.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, and when you're writing your testimonials, make sure they're not all the same. So, for example, if you're targeting, you know, people in Alexandria, then the tendency is that, well, I want all my testimonials to be from Alexandria. And I get that, and I understand that, but everybody that you're targeting does have some kind of unique problem or reason they're considering making a move. Some people are making a move because they want to get out of the area. They've been relocated for their job, or they want a bigger house or a smaller house, or they're having a financial problem, or they're going through a divorce. But there's some problem or issue that is compelling them to consider a move. So identifying that issue in your testimonials is a big deal. That will resonate with the people that you're talking to. In other words, who is Frank for? And who does business with Frank and why? You know, those are things that you answer in your testimonials. The other thing is you can highlight something specific. So, for example, we just loved, you know, Frank's radio talking house. Seemed like every time we looked out our window, there were 3 cars out front tuning into the radio commercial about our property that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we know that was a contributor to our home selling in 13 days for more than our asking price. Okay, so every one of your clients that you sell a home to has those kinds of stories to be told. You just got to pull it out, which means you've got to know the story and write it for them, right? And you'll do better for it. All right, so those are a few rules. If it was me, and let me pull up what I would do with the Just Sold card, and we'll take a look at that. Hang on one second. I got it right here in front of me. Here it is. Let me pull it up and throw it up on the screen. All right. So you've probably seen this card before from Warren. So what I would do, when I told Warren to do, I said, look, dude, there's 2 changes. This was the 3rd run of this card. In other words, this is the 3rd generation based on the changes that I suggested he make. Okay? And this is the one he settled on. And I said, well, there's one other change I would make, and then here's what I would do with this card. Okay? So there's a front, and then there's a back to it. Okay? And they pretty much both say the same thing. All right. It just looks a little bit different, saying it in a different way, but whatever. So the change I told him is like, okay, look, on these reasons to call you to sell the house, one of them has to be, or should be, in my opinion, is that you're the guy with the buyers. You got the buyers, right? And then number 2, you sell a home for more money, and number 3, you sell them faster. And if you need a number 4, they're more likely to sell. But one of my reasons would be, I got the buyers. Okay? All right, now, over here on the right where he's got these 2 testimonials, or on the back side where he's got the 1 testimonial, one of these boxes, one of these spaces here, either on the front here, in this, you know, in this whole, you know, what is it, this whole area here, or where he's on this other side where he's got, this 1 testimonial. That's where I would basically put my just sold. So I would instead of the testimonial, I'm just going to give the just sold information. So I could take everything that's on the front of your card, and I could combine that. I could put this whole box in that one space.
Got it.
On that one postcard. Okay. And that's in that area. So, I just sold this house in, whatever area you were talking about. I just sold this house in University Park. Okay. And for 97.8% of the asking price in 12 days. Okay. And then you've got your testimonial here that you can put on the other side of the card or whatever. You should have their photo. And that would be, oops, put it back up. That would be your card. And then you can use this card all the time. Every time there's a just sold, you just change out that little area.
Okay.
If you want to do a direct mail, just using your performance guarantee or USP card, use the same card. Yeah. But the point is that you're trying to tell a story, and the story that you're trying to tell is, okay, number one, I got the buyers. Number two, I sell homes for more money than the other agents do. Number three, I sell them in less time than the other agents do. And number four, other people say that it's so. Okay, so that's third-party endorsement and testimonials. And the fifth thing is, I'll reverse the risk. If I don't sell your home, I'll buy it.
Right, the guarantee.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that's really great about your card is leveraging Sean. Okay, that's really good. So, and I would, the only other thing I would add would be the radio station that he's on, as heard on, whatever WSB AM 750.
That's I think that's on there, Todd.
Yeah, or whatever it is. So that's the way that's what I would do with my just sold card. If you did that, I think you'd get a bump in responses. Okay. Now, you said you were sending them to the seller prospects in your database. Very smart. I would also send them to the expired listings in the area. I'd also send them to the for sale by owners in the area. I'd send them to the old expireds in the area, depending on when the itch cycle is, and would determine how old. And I would send them to the active listings in the area if on the active listings, a third of the homes expire. And then you can even test, canceled and withdrawns if you can determine there's an itch cycle with those guys. And then you're on to a pretty good marketing system because you're selling what? You're selling a few homes every month, so you're doing this and you pick out, okay, I'm going to do this twice a month, or maybe there's no rule. Maybe it's just when there's a certain house in a particular area, and you have this going on every month enough to where you can leverage one to make your case. So it's conceivable that the people in your database and that list that I just mentioned to you could get something from you once a week, a card like this.
Right. Okay, got it.
And that would be pretty effective. And I'll send that. You can pretty it up. You can do whatever you want to do with this card. Whoops. Let me ditch that attachment and whoops, I ditched the wrong attachment. Hang on one second. And I'll email this over to you right now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Just so you can do what you want to with it. But that would be my recommendation, is to squeeze in more out of that.
Right. No, good.
All right, so let's go back to your.
We're always trying to get those 6 marketing points somewhere in our advertising, and without making it look crazy. And so, but yeah, I think the way you explained it, we can do that. We can get it in there every time.
Okay, let's see. Attention home buyers, free online home search, free list of homes for sales. Search the internet yourself. View listings just like real estate agents do. Simply enter your price range, desired features, and location. Beat out other buyers to hot new listings with priority access. Includes luxury homes, fixer-uppers, visit my DC, blah, blah, blah. So what is this for?
This goes on the back of a flyer to make the maximum of the space to try and possibly get somebody else's buyer.
Oh, on the back of a flyer inside a house.
Correct.
I got you.
Inside the house of one or listing, and then we're also at the bottom making a push for recruiting. So really, the front side will show pictures of the house we're selling, but this is just the back side to try and pick up more buyers and pick up more agents.
MyMetroDCVAHome.com. Okay, let's check that out. www.mydcva, what was it? Home. MyDCVAHome.com.
It goes right to our Commissions Inc. site.
www.mymetro, I left off Metro, DCVAHome.com. Here's something I don't really like about that, is that it takes them to the home page on your Commissions Inc. site, right?
Right.
Okay, but when Commissions Inc. runs all of their ads, they take your money and they spend it on marketing. They don't drive any traffic to this page. None. You know that, right?
Right.
Okay, but you're driving traffic to this page.
Right.
So how come they don't do it?
There's probably a reason.
That's right. It doesn't work. You got it. It's not that they didn't test it.
Right.
Those guys spent, a lot of man hours and a lot of time and a lot of money testing it. You're right. It don't work. Same reason that Craig Proctor and I don't teach you and the other guys to drive traffic to the homepage on your own website. The more specific you are with your offer, which you are, search the MLS just like a real estate agent. And then when I get here, it's just a little bit vague, for the average guy. I think you're better off, in my opinion, and I know what you're trying to do. There's just less work here for you. But if it were me, I would absolutely, if I'm going to make that offer, I'm going to send them to probably the landing page on my Success website, so they just fill out the form.
Okay.
And then you can just call back the leads from there, just like you would in, calling back from Commissions Inc. anyway. But that's what I would do, because I know that no matter what link you picked out in here, it's going to alienate some people when they land on the page. If they landed on the homes in Bethesda, you may have guys say, well, I'm in Alexandria, so this ain't what I'm looking for. And I get that. So when you try to be all things though to everyone, it just gets really diluted and ineffective. All right. So that's what I would do. That's what Craig would tell you to do, and Dwayne would tell you the same thing. Don't send them to that page.
Okay.
We've already tried that. It doesn't work.
All right.
That's some pretty nice houses here, man. I like this one for $6 million. Yeah, 9,322 square feet. That's pretty strong. That's a big home.
That's could be Dan Snyder's home up in Bethesda.
Yeah. No, and of course, your Commissions Inc. site works good. But anyway, that's what I would do. Or what you could do is, if you already know based on the home you're putting the flyer in, then just go ahead with the search and drive them to, instead of your home page, drive them to that search page.
Okay.
And use your Commissions Inc. site. Okay.
Okay, got it.
But some of these things here, like search the internet yourself, that's just, I don't know what that means. Obviously, people know they can do that. They don't need you to do it for them. Okay. But here's what I would say: free list of homes for sale, matching your exact home buying criteria. Okay, free list of homes for sale, matching your exact home buying criteria. Get access to all of the homes for sale as often as they hit the marketplace. just like real estate agents do, right? And you'll be able to beat out other buyers to hot new listings, and the list includes these things. And then that's way better statements, I think, than breaking it up like that.
Okay.
And it's a little bit hard to understand. I don't know if people read that many bullet points, but anyway, okay. I like that. All right. Frank Prindle Associates Real Estate Professionals is growing again. Buyer agents needed. We'll take a look at the recruiting here in just a moment. All right, so this is the back of a flyer. We'll go to, I'm sure this is the other side.
Correct.
Yeah. Waiting on your cosmetic touches to make this your dream home. All right, so let's talk about the flyers inside the house. What do you think their purpose is? Or what do you want? Or here's a better way for me to ask that. What do you want them to do? What do you want the flyer to do?
I want, really, it's pretty simple. I've always thought that they take this as a reminder to separate our house from every other house that they've seen. So it's more of just a visual reminder, so they can look at that and say, yeah, that's I saw that house. If they're interested, then they can, you know.
All right, so let me make sure I understand. So what you're telling me is, and this is what I'm hearing, so tell me if I'm wrong. You're telling me that you want the flyer to sell the house for you.
No, I want it to be a reminder after they've seen the house.
Okay, so you've worked with buyers in the past.
Right.
Is that what the flyers do? Because this flyer is not really any different than all the other flyers in other homes.
Well, basically, when I've worked with buyers and you show them 5 to 10 homes over a day or 2-day period, they get confused with what they've seen. So,
that's right. So how's your flyer going to, and these are buyers that have picked up flyers at other listings that you've shown them, right?
Right.
Okay, and they're still confused.
Okay.
Right, so that doesn't mean that your flyer is going to make them less confused. It just adds to the confusion. All right, so the whole theory of let's produce a flyer so they remember the house over others is flawed. And you yourself just said that. You just said, yes, when I'm showing buyers houses and they get flyers from a bunch of listings, they get confused or they can't remember. Even though they have the flyer, they still can't quite conclude, you know, the benefits or remember. Okay, so, and I get that. Here's how it works. They walk into a house and they're like, holy crap, I want to buy this house, or not. They're confused because no one house stands out. They're not interested. They're not going to buy any of those. It's funny because they get unconfused when they find the home that they want to buy, right? They forget all the others. That's usually, not always, usually the case, usually, but not always. All right, so if that whole system or theory or method is really flawed, then maybe you should make a decision that you want your flyers to do something else.
Okay.
In that case, what is it? Okay, well, Craig taught me to use my flyer to promote my unique selling proposition. Okay, it's just another method for you to tell everyone who's in the marketplace looking for homes, as well as real estate agents, that you're different than everybody else and why you're different and why you're better. Okay, that's number one purpose of the flyer. It's a commercial for my unique selling proposition.
Okay.
Buy this home, I'll buy yours. To discuss the sale, to discuss the sale of your home, or for a free report with these details, get to www.blankyblank.com and you have your phone number on there. Okay. We used to have all kinds of buyers calling us. Yeah, we looked at your listing yesterday of such and such street, and I got this flyer, and it says you'll buy my house and blah blah blah. And I'm like, and when they first started happening, when I first did it, I was trying to figure out, well, who showed them the house? I didn't show it to them. And then I realized that they looked at it with another agent, but they're calling me because I made the offer for them to call me. All right, so that's number one, is promote your unique selling proposition. Number two is to steal the buyers from the lesser agents. Okay? Because you're right, the flyer is not going to sell the house. So the more you try to sell this one home, the more difficult or frustrated you are. So you want to steal the buyer away. So beyond the performance guarantee at the top here, we just took out this little ad space right down here on the bottom, right? And right down here somewhere. And you got it. Attention, buyers, free online home search. I just think we can probably make that a little bit better ad in that space down there. So what I would recommend that you do is I would just go back to the coaching site, and let me show you. Let me find there we go. And I'd go to the ad generator here, click on classified ads, and I would use one of these two ads, 6 buyer mistakes or trade up mistakes. If it's a move up home, I'm running this ad in that space. If it's not a first time home buyer house, maybe I run this ad. Maybe I test them both. But I'm just going to give away free information, free report about the home buying process. They're not buying this house. All the buyers looking at your listings are not buying that house. Only one of them will. Okay. Right? So if you get 10 people looking at your listing, 10 of them aren't buying it. 9 of them are buying a different house, possibly all 10. So that means the flyer, as intended, which is to get them to remember your house, worthless. Okay. All right. So number one, promote you, Frank, your unique selling proposition, your brand. Number two, steal them away. You're trying to do that on the back page. Great. Don't change that except for the changes I recommended. Be more specific so that when they get there, they can see the actual search area they're looking for. And then on the front page, I'm running one of these free report ads on the bottom. Okay. And do you do those 3 things, or those 2 things really on your flyers there? Now it'll be worth printing them up, putting them in the house. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, so let's go back and get to your stuff. All right, so the next thing we had on the agenda here was your ads, your recruiting ads. Buyer agent ad. Let's see, licensed real estate agent wanted. All leads and appointments supplied. Increase your closings literally overnight. Make a rewarding income. No open houses, no marketing, no advertising, no prospecting. All buyer leads and appointments supplied. You set your goals, and we provide the leads. Our unique marketing system. All right, so the ad looks okay, but there's no call to action. What do you want me to do after I read it? Well, let's see. If you'd like to learn more about this unique opportunity, please email lisa@frankprindle.com. Okay, so I see that. There's a call to action. All right, well, how's the ad working?
When we sent this to you, we just added it to the flyers, so we don't have a lot of history based on this specifically. We've used this type wording though in Craigslist and emails directly to known real estate agents, and we have we get responses on each time we send it. Okay. So we're getting, and what I'm trying to do is have it always working for me,
Great, and you should. That's exactly, yeah. You want to always be recruiting, not always hiring, but always recruiting. Yeah. So here's a little different way to position the ad. Okay. So we get a qualifier in the headline for ambitious agents only. Keep reading if you want to double or triple your closings literally overnight. Here's what I got for you. Here's what it will do for you, and here's what you do now. Okay. So that's the ad, and that's been the breadwinner for all of my recruiting since 1998, give or take a few options. So as often as I can, I push this over on members, but when I get their stuff, they don't really follow this formula. Here's what I got for you, here's what it does for you, and here's what I want you to do now. There's some elements in there where it gets a little confusing, or the benefits aren't rich enough. Okay? So for example, if we look at your ad, licensed real estate agent wanted, all leads and appointments supplied. Okay, how many people in your marketplace are competing with you to get agents with similar offers? Like, we need or want licensed agents, and that would be just about every brokerage, right?
Yeah, thousands.
Right. Now the next thing is, okay, how many of those companies are saying they provide leads?
Probably quite a few.
Okay, I don't know. See, back in the day, not that long ago, there was nobody.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've got competition with almost the same language. So no problem. You just change your language around a little bit. Okay, so mine says, for ambitious agents only, keep reading if you want to double or triple your closings literally overnight. Didn't mention anything about leads yet.
Okay.
Right? Because I don't want them to gain the perception that the leads that we're offering them are the same as everyone else. So here's what I got for you. An amazing opportunity to make a six-figure income. So instead of focusing on the leads, we focus in on them and their money and their earning potential. Okay? Here's what it does for you. You will receive a steady stream of buyers that can and will buy, and then we just tell them straight up, above the market area price. So you make more money on the same work that you're doing now.
Okay.
And then, okay, here's what you're not going to do to get this business. Okay? And that's been a little better effective language. So you might want to consider doing that. I'll send this right on over to you.
Yeah, I mean, no reason not to just change it to exactly that.
Yeah, I would recommend changing exactly what you see right here.
Yeah.
On all your stuff. I think it's a better marketing and language that has proven that way. And then you just carry it on over to your other mediums, whether it's Craigslist, email blasting, inside your listings, outgoing correspondence to agents, whatever.
Okay.
And this is the language, and this is what we tell people when we call them. So if I've got an inside person or an administrative person calling a list of agents, each week, and that's what I recommend for the guys at Optimus Real Estate Brokers that need buyers agents, is like, you got to call them. Here's the list. We give them the list. We give them the script, and this is pretty much the script, and we tell them, here's what you say. Hey, I wanted to call you because I think you're a fantastic agent, and I got a question for you. Are you interested in doubling or tripling your closings without really working any more than you're working right now? And of course, not all, but most of them say, yeah. So, okay, well, here's what I've got for you then. And here's what you're going to get, and here's what I want to do now. I want us to get together, and I want to show you these clients, these prospects. I want you to see them for yourself. Okay? And have a discussion if you can really handle these kinds of clients.
Okay.
So anyway, that's been a good script, whether it's in ad form or whether it's sent, like I said, over the phone or over the net.
Right. So yeah, like you say, can use this in all the mediums.
Yep.
It's okay.
So anyway, that was the stuff I had on my agenda, that based on what I got from you guys before the conference. Was there anything else that you had on your mind that you wanted to work on or talk about today?
Not right now, Todd. It just it just emphasizes the point. I've been with you for so long. How can I keep forgetting all this stuff? And that's why it's always good as reviews and getting you information so we can go over it.
Yeah. Well, just keep your list handy. I heard you writing stuff down. Just have that list. Right. Prioritize a list, And then the activity, or when you delegate it to your assistant, just emphasize with them that it's important that it be a franchised image or a franchised system or a exact duplicate or copy of what that person's doing. And that's the way I instructed my people over the years. As I looked at my assistant, I said, well, is that what Craig's ad says? Well, yeah. Well, let me see Craig's ad. And then she'd show it to me. I was like, well, that's not what his says. You change this and you change that. And then they always had some reason for it. And I said, don't change it. Don't the exact word. Just pop out his picture, put mine in.
Right.
And change the phone number to mine. That's it. That's what I'm talking about in terms of copy. The only thing that changes is the person. And over time, it worked. I was able to convince my people to do that because the phone rang more. Wow, you're right about that. And so anyway, so you can emphasize that as well to your team.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, you're doing pretty good, man. It was great seeing you in Anaheim.
Yeah, you as well.
Now, know we've got, we're going to do a titanium event here in Atlanta in July. You've heard about that?
Yeah, I think you gave us the dates, but you weren't sure exactly the start date.
Hey, Dana.
Is that firmed up?
What's our start date for titanium in July? So July 22nd, she says. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to fly in on the 21st, and we're going to get started the 22nd that morning. So we're just getting all the hotel information, the resort information, and the agenda put together now, and we should be able to get that to you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Yeah. That's going to be fun, though. We've got a great event. The first day we're going to work all day, and then that evening we're going to go to my house for a cookout, which is not too far from the resort. On the right there on the lake and everything. It'll be pretty cool. We'll kick back and have a good time and goof off a little bit. And then, hey, Dana, see if you can book Ken Scott, the magician, to come to my house for that cookout that night. Ken Scott is his name. I'll tell you where to find him in a little bit. He's really good. He performs at the White House and stuff like that, but he's a real good friend, so he may cut me a deal.
Okay.
If I can get him to come. But I've been trying to figure out what to do, something really just different and fun, and I think that would be cool. He's really good, man. He's really good. I mean, he's an illusionist.
Okay.
So
we'll fly in the 21st. Work
the 21st, the
22nd, and 23rd.
Right, the 22nd that morning. We're going to work all day. Then we're coming to my house for a cookout, and then on the 23rd, we're going to get up in the morning, and we're going to get on a bus or something, and we're going to come to my office.
Okay.
And we're going to spend the morning at my office, and basically I'm going to walk through my routine, what we're working on. Here's what this person does. Here's what that person does, and why. And we're going to, do that for about 2 hours, and then we're going to pile back in the bus, and we're going to head to Commissions Inc. for lunch.
Okay.
So we're having lunch there, and Dwayne's going to share. Well, probably before Dwayne, my guy named Ike Reichard, who's a pastor, real famous guy in the industry, incredible entrepreneur, is going to talk to us about creating your
culture
and leveraging it for raving fans. So
you mentioned him before.
Yeah,
that sounds real exciting.
He's amazing. And then so he's going to do that for us in the afternoon, and then we're going to pile back into the bus and head down to Buckhead, which is not closer to Atlanta, for a fancy dinner.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so it'll be a great 2 days, man.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, well, if you don't need me for anything else today, I'm going to let you go work, and I guess I'll go do the same.
Yeah, we'll work on those materials and get them back to you just for another check. Okay, Todd?
Yeah, man, no problem. Great job, too. Great job.
Make sure we've got everything in order. Yeah. Appreciate the help, really.
Yeah, man. Great seeing you in Anaheim. Looking forward to seeing you again soon.